People always say that you have to have money to make money, and that there's an extraordinary level of sacrifice on the road to success. So how is it that investors like us, who didn't start out with much money and who don't rely on banks and credit, how is it that we can increase our income and build our wealth in a way that doesn't require us replacing one full-time job with another while still enjoying the things in life that matter most to us? That has always been the big question, and this podcast reveals the answers. I am Carrie Like, and this is the Investor Warrior.
So this is the beginning of the journey, and we're going to talk about the 6 things, right? That Stephen has.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the 6 secrets, the 6 things, and how Stephen has now started to get me to start to organize my thinking around these 6 things. And let's go. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Put your ninja bandana on and tell us the 6 secrets.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what's going to be really fun. Some of these episodes we're going to be able to do like this, where we're sharing screen, where we'll be in 2 different states. Currently, I'm in California. You all are in Florida. Sometimes we'll be in the same room, being able to do these things. So I'm really excited about the times we get together and hash these things out together. But the most important and beautiful thing, whether we're virtual, is that we're bringing the audience with us, and we're going to be able to dig into these things. And so as much as there's 6 things, I don't know if some of you, you're like, are you guys are old farts, because I'm going to mention City Slickers. And the City Slickers.
That is really dated.
I never saw City
That
Slickers.
is really dated. I'm surprised you know that.
There is one thing. There's one thing you need to know in life. One thing. Anyway, so those of you that are young bucks, just go ahead and watch City Slickers, and you'll laugh about the one thing. But really, there are 6 things, 6 areas, but there's really one thing. And the thing that we need to do is we need to build a machine in 6 distinct areas in order for them to work without us. And they have to all flow together in unison. It's like building a machine. So those of you that are engineers by trade, your mind understands that, listen, if one part of the machine is broken, you will always be going back to repair that machine. And what we often do as business owners is we overindulge in one area or another, and we're always in repair and cycle mode, is how he was just describing. Something breaks, then it gets our attention. We fix that thing. Fixing that thing wasn't in harmony with all the other things, and something else breaks. And say, all right, let's look at that thing. And so there's always this wonderful, wonderful cycle of fixing these things. And so the first machine that we need to build is a machine that captures lead. It is a lead generation machine. We have to have predictable, clear, structured opportunity to make sure that new people are coming into our business. And if we don't have that, you don't have a business. I hate to say this. If you don't have a way to acquire clients, you don't have a business, you have a really burdensome job. A business generates leads. It has a process in which it does that. If you don't, that you have a job, because you are always humping, you are always hustling, you are always going out there to find new opportunities.
Would you say that word of mouth is a lead generation system or not?
It's not predictable. So unless you make it predictable, if you have a process in which you've built, loaded people's lips, you have very strategic partners, you load their lips, say listening for specific things, and when they hear specific things, they mention you. Yes, there is a way to make that into a predictable process, but most people don't have that organized. So it needs to be organized. If you have it organized, then yes, you can make word of mouth a very predictable source of income.
Okay.
And so once you have this process in which you're generating leads, and it comes in and it's predictable, if I put $10 here, I get 1 customer here. It is a very predictable process. The next thing is a lead conversion. Having a lead, and this is where the biggest gap I've seen in most businesses. Yeah. Most businesses have been in business for more than 2 years, have absolutely, how would I put it? They think they need to do more marketing. They're always investing in more marketing. And they get all these leads and say, oh, well, those weren't really buyers.
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself. Don't lie to yourself, because your process is too weak to convert leads into paying customers.
Yeah. It is my biggest pet peeve when I call a business and they don't call me back. And I'm like, that is terrible. You just paid for my call and then didn't convert it. Or in our case, like in the beginning, we were putting marketing letters out the phone was ringing. And because of our life back then, I had no capacity to answer the calls.
I was just going to say, I mean, one thing is when you're frustrated with another company, but another thing is the moment Steven said that, my mind just went to all the lead generation systems we've had over the last.
Yeah, I think I get frustrated.
How much we didn't follow up.
I get frustrated because I see myself in them.
I mean,
I'm like, come on, guys! Like, I've done this before.
I know, right? And it's such a waste of money. And I'm not saying marketing is a waste of money. I think intelligent marketing is very, very effective, very worth it. But if you don't have a lead conversion system, then you will waste so much money on marketing. And, enough to pay for someone's salary. Let me tell you, most companies I've seen lose so many leads, they could literally pay for an entire employee salary with it.
I know many real estate investors where all they would have to go do to get a lead right now is go through all of their old leads that they only called once. Because we talked about this on a lot of podcast shows, is recycling old leads. You call them once and you're like, not a lead anymore.
I lost a real estate agent as a client because of that. And let me say, it was a guy, Sotheby's is a very well-to-do, they kind of help people relocate all over the Twin Cities, Minneapolis area. And this guy was working for Sotheby's and he just needed more leads. And he saw me speak at a conference. He hired me right away. He says, I absolutely need to work with you. And so I said, I sent him home and we talked about, I said, when was the last time you reached out to your previous clients? That was one of my first questions I asked him. He said, well, it's been a while. I said, did you know everybody in this state moves every 3 to 5 years? What would happen if you reached out to everybody? He literally did that. He had so much business. He quit coaching. He said, I can't handle this. He was so overwhelmed. He literally quadrupled his income that year. And he stopped meeting with me after 3 meetings because the pain that was hurting him got solved with one idea. So it was painful for me, but it's so true. It's apropos to exactly what you're saying, Carrie. That's exactly it. If we would just stay in contact with people, not just because of what they can buy from us again, but they know people. And if they enjoyed you and they liked you, you spend all that time getting them to love you, like you, and trust you. And then all of that goes out the window when they sign that dotted line. And you know what they assume?
That you just wanted the deal.
That's all you wanted. And 69% of all opportunity, like when you have a loyal customer, 69% of the time when you lose them, you know why you lose them? Perceived indifference. They don't think you give a crap about them.
Yeah, because I've done that where I've perceived that they just wanted my sale and it pissed me off.
And so
on the flip side in the service industry, I can't tell you how much incompetence we get away with because we care.
Well, it's not incompetence.
Well, mistakes, you know,
human.
Mistakes made, things like that. But as long as the client feels you care and you're trying, there is a tremendous amount of
absolutely, because there's trust there. There's trust that we're going to do what we say we're going to do, even if we make mistakes along the way, and that we're doing it for them. We're not just doing it for us.
Which is a direct connection to the next system, which is a client fulfillment system.
So number 2 was lead conversion. Number 3
is client fulfillment. When you market and when you sell to people, you're making promises to them. You're saying, this is what I'm going to deliver. And your client fulfillment system is to ensure that everything over delivers. Everything amazes them. Everything takes them to say, oh my gosh, this is what you promised and this is what you did. Grant Cardone says you don't overpromise, underpromise, and overdeliver. You overpromise and then overdeliver. And I like that. I appreciate the bravado. But here's the thing: everybody really, really gets a kick out of unexpected delight. They open the mailbox and it was something they didn't expect, and that is magic with a client. And when you can do that, you're talking about creating raving fans. Most people in the client fulfillment cycle, they spend most of their money in their marketing department and they don't invest in how to make customers love you more. It is so much easier to convert someone from a satisfied customer to a raving fan than it is to take someone that is a cold lead and make them a customer. I'm going to say that again because it's really important that you get that. It is so much easier to take someone from a satisfied customer to a raving fan so much more cost effective.
Mhm.
That's going to tell hundreds of people that don't know you about you than it is to take someone from a cold lead to a paying customer.
Mm.
And we spend more money investing in getting cold
The
leads to
leads.
paying
Mhm.
customers than we do turning existing satisfied customers into raving fans, which would can completely increase your bottom line every step of
Yeah.
the way, because they market for you for free.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's a huge part of it. And so once we have those in place, you've got your lead generation, which is your marketing. You've got your
Yep.
lead conversion, which is a completely sophisticated sales system. And then you've got your client fulfillment. And the next step we need to have is called a management and execution framework. Things fall through the cracks if you're not careful. What you don't measure, you cannot manage. You have to be able to manage the systems that you have in place to make sure everything happens like clockwork. And so you build a machine to make sure those things are done. So you're almost like everybody needs an engineer on the team that's poking holes, asking questions, finding out what's going on to make sure that nothing falls apart. Because what we do when we grow is we try to operate at the same level of business we were last year. And if you've grown, what you'll see is when you grow bigger, more holes will show up, more cracks, and those things will fall into place. And so we need to be able to make sure that's coming into place. And once we have our systems in place, which we're gonna harp all over systems as we go on this journey, the next thing we need to make sure is the cash flow is moving in the right direction.
So we are on number
4 is management and execution framework.
Okay.
Ensuring the systems in place. Number 5 is absolutely making sure that your cash is in order. I can't tell you how many business owners have had amazing, successful years and turn around and say, I owe what in taxes?
I didn't make that much money. What are you talking about?
They're so shocked and so blown away because they don't have a system in place
Yeah.
to understand and interpret in a regular accounting and finances. And I train entrepreneurs all the time. And I do this course every 6 months. I run a course for about 20 entrepreneurs. And it's an in-person event locally where I live, and they come in and they're training and everything else like that. When we get to the financial section, most of these entrepreneurs want to hide under the table. They don't understand them. They don't know them. And so what we need to talk about, what are those areas? There are 7 areas between the P&L, profit and loss statement, and your balance sheet that you need to know as an owner. You don't need to become a certified CPA. You don't need to become a certified accountant or a bookkeeper, but there's some things you do need to know so that you can communicate clearly with your bookkeeper and to know when there's something missing.
Yeah.
This is the final thing.
Go ahead. Before we get to number 6, this is actually an area that I have spent the better part of, I would say, 30 plus years as an entrepreneur working on, which is, so when we get into this piece, I think that this is one I'll have some fun with. The other ones cause me a lot of pain because I'm not as good at them. But this is what I'm excited to share.
And here's the thing, and I self-admittedly, I tell people this all the time. I intentionally stay dumb in this area, and I literally refuse to go into depth and to understand all of the details, because I like having the partnerships that I have with accountants, CFOs, fractional CFOs, and bookkeepers. I love those relationships, and I love being able to say I don't know, because if I can I can keep my main thing the main thing and understand the 7 areas that I'm going to talk about that every entrepreneur needs to know. If I understand those 7, I trust them, and I've created trusted relationships to be able to do that. And Howie, maybe we should create a list between you and all the other business contacts we know, that we should create a support system in that financial cash flow area, so that maybe people might be able to reach out and
that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
we'll dive more into it, because there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line between spending all your time in spreadsheets and not doing the other things, right, in the system, and trusting your advisors, right? So we'll get into that. So number 6,
and this is the final one. And honestly, I say this is the best. You say this is the best for last. It really is the best for last, because you will be determined. Your lid and how you grow your organization will always be determined by your leadership, 100%. If you can't lead effectively, you will not be able to grow a team. You will not be able to attract, recruit, and retain good talent. You will not be able to be able to put pieces in place where you absolutely know that you can close your eyes and have full confidence. You won't have systems in place where people can come to you and hold them accountable with clear reporting and clear expectations and still feel good about doing it. You won't have a morale that cause people to stay around for years and years and years and years, because the average person, when you lose an employee, the average loss to the company is that person's annual salary.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to put some pieces together in order to make sure that not only you're growing yourself as a leader, but you're building an environment that's conducive to a team that can work without you. And those are the 6 secrets. We can build in those 6 areas, and we've done it hundreds of times. We can watch a business owner go from being fully operational in their business to an investor who looks on top of their business and say, these people don't need me.
Yeah.
That's just a great place to be.
That's the point where you get up, you check in, and you go on with your day.
And the thing that I want to distinction that I want to make before we wrap up is that if you're listening to this and you're not trying to become Microsoft or Google, right? These things that we're talking about, right? This system, this one thing with the 6 elements to it, is key no matter how big you're looking to get your organization. Even if your organization is going to be 2 or 3 people, everything that Stephen just talked about is crucial. And as we get into these things in our next shows, and I start to share my painful stories of these things, I'm not trying to build a large organization, right? It's a small organization. I'm trying to do something at a relatively small level. And the lack of these elements have haunted me. And we're going to get on that journey to turn that around.
Yeah. All right, Stephen, wrap it up with a bow. Let's recap. So the one thing is,
we need to build a machine that systematizes the entire business if we wanted to be able to work without us.
Okay. And the 6 secrets are?
Well, the 6 secrets, the 6 elements of the machine, right?
Yep.
The 6 elements machine is a lead generation, and we construct them and build them independently, but a lead generation system, a lead conversion system, which is your sales, a client fulfillment system, which is your customer service and client experience, a management and execution framework. Then you need a cash flow management system, and you need yourself, your leadership, and the ability to build a team that works without you. So those are the 6 areas. It's going to be so much fun diving into this, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. When we get back together, and we'll start with one, and we'll get into it, and we're going to really start to apply it not only with just the business part, but what we do for a living, which is real estate investing, right? So there's going to be a lot of learning with both of those things. And so you used to say when we wrapped up, we were only done 1 deal away. I think maybe we should switch that to you're only 1 system away.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Stephen. And we'll catch you guys on the other side for the next episode. We're super excited to continue with the show. And what's next?
You're only 1 system.
You're only 1 system away.
Hey, Investor Warriors. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you got something out of this episode or you love our show, remember to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and share this out to your friends and family. And here's what I want you to do. If you review us or if you share this podcast to your network, I want you to take a picture, a screenshot picture of that review or of that share, and I want you to send that picture to my email, which is Carrie, spelled Kari, Carrie@theinvestorwarrior.com, because every single week we're going to run a contest. So you will be entered into that contest if you leave a review or if you share the podcast out to someone. And we're going to be giving away all kinds of cool stuff like books from our guests. We're going to be giving away free coaching sessions, virtual lunches where I buy you lunch. We get on a Zoom call together and we talk real estate. So if you want to enter into the contest, remember, leave us a review or share this podcast to your friends and family. Take a screenshot, email it to Carrie@theinvestorwarrior.com, and you will be entered into the contest. And you can do this week after week if you want. Just keep on sharing. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you on the next episode. And remember, you are only 1 deal away. And by the way, as the lawyers want me to say, everything said on this podcast is my opinion or the opinions of my guests and is not to be taken as investment advice because I am not your investment advisor. So this podcast is just for your education and entertainment only. And I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.